Welcome back to the channel. Today we actually have why Halloween's really British, which I was surprised to come across this video because I just did a video on Halloween's Irish origins. So I'm definitely curious to find out how Halloween is British, right? So with that being said, we're smoking all my dragons, divine righteous, almighty greats overachieving, never slacking, and Halloween is tomorrow. So definitely be safe out there. I hope everybody's gonna have a lot of fun. But right now we're gonna learn a lot of history, and this is from Anglophenia, and the original link will be in the description. Here we go.
Made you look. But now that I've got your attention, why not stick around and find out where Halloween really comes from? Or are you too much of a scaredy cat? Despite what many Brits think is an American invention, as it turns out, it's actually the Scots who were the original trick-or-treaters. It's believed that the origins of what we call Halloween can be traced back to the ancient festival of Samhain, which was celebrated by the Celts on November 1st. Samhain translates into summer's end in Gaelic and marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. The Celts also believed that on the night before Samhain, the veil between the worlds of the dead and the living was at its thinnest, and that spirits, ghouls and fairies would visit. By the 7th century, pagan Celts had been successfully converted to Christianity. The church had found that the best way to convert pagans was to come up with a similar but not quite the same alternative to an already existing calendar celebration. So the Christian All Saints' Day was moved to November 1st, which, yep, you guessed it, just happened to be the same day as Samhain. Interestingly, by 1550, Samhain had been absorbed into the Christian festival of All Saints, also known as All Hallows' Day. Celebrations retained much of the pagan character, offering both joyful celebration and sombre contemplation of death. In fact, the word Halloween itself might sound like it has pagan roots, but the etymology is actually Christian and is a contraction of All Hallows' Eve. By the 17th century, the principal autumn gathering in England had become Bonfire Night on November 5th, after Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament. There's a whole other Anglophenia episode on this, which I highly recommend. So the English were like, hello, what now? But Halloween continued to grow in popularity in areas that had a strong Celtic heritage, especially Scotland, who clung to the aura of ghostly happenings and romance that the night held. Yes, romance. As it turns out, Halloween can tell you a lot about your love life. Many of the modern-day Halloween celebrations, such as trick-or-treating and carving lanterns, can be traced back to the original Scottish celebrations, many of which are described in the poem Halloween, written by the Scottish poet Robert Burns in 1759. Duking or bobbing for apples was a common pastime on Halloween, but apples were mostly used to reveal clues about one's...
It's crazy because as I watched this, I'm like, I completely forgot that parts of Ireland are like part considered Britain, and same with Scott. So it's like I was thinking Ireland and thinking it was just completely somewhere else and forgot about the Scottish and oh man. So this is good that I'm reviewing this video and really getting that understanding as far as the origin in the British, you know. So this video was definitely informative.
Can be traced back to the original Scottish celebrations, many of which are described in the poem Halloween, written by the Scottish poet Robert Burns in 1759. Duking or bobbing for apples was a common pastime on Halloween, but apples were mostly used to reveal clues about one's future spouse, which is what most pre-industrial rural teenagers spent their days thinking about. I mean, they didn't have Facebook. There were many variations when it came to apple divination, including apple bobbing, where the first to pick the apple out of the water using only their mouth would be the first to marry. Slicing the apple into 9 pieces where the future intended would magically appear to take the final slice. Eating an apple while simultaneously combing your hair in front of a mirror would not only show that you were well coordinated, but also show you the face of your true love in the reflection.
The magic of apples. If you grew a lot of apples throughout August and September, then yeah, you got a lot of magic to work with, for sure.
And my personal favourite, attempting to peel an apple in one motion without breaking the skin. Toss it over your shoulder and it would land in the shape of a letter from your future betrothed's name. I used to try this one when I was a little girl every Halloween. I don't know, something about it was just so appealing. I pair this apple round...
Something about it, but you see how she said something about it is so appealing? Maybe in a past life she was doing that. I haven't been apple bobbing in a long time.
Personal favourite, attempting to peel an apple in one motion without breaking the skin. Toss it over your shoulder and it would land in the shape of a letter from your future betrothed's name. I used to try this one when I was a little girl every Halloween. I don't know, something about it was just so appealing. I pair this apple round and round again, my sweetheart's name to flourish on the plain. I fling the unbroken pairing o'er my head. My sweetheart's letter on the ground is red. Yeah, guys, any ideas? Later, apples found popularity when Halloween was brought to America by Irish and Scottish immigrants, and apple juice became the standard drink at Halloween celebrations, often served alongside popcorn, donuts, and pumpkin pie. Well, what did you expect? This was America, people. Yep. The original Scottish version of trick-or-treating was called Guising, where children would venture out disguised as evil spirits so they
Guising. Anybody going guising tonight?
Could walk undetected by the wicked ghouls on Halloween. Instead of going door to door and simply yelling, "Trick or treat!" they would be expected to perform a song, poem, or some other entertaining trick before being rewarded with treats, often food, drinks, coins, or soul cakes, which were small round spiced seed cakes with currants on top and were specific to Halloween. In the spirit of all this, I thought I could perform the monotonous souling song, which was often performed by children on All Saints' Day when they went from house to house. Soul, soul, soul cake, good mistress, give us a soul cake. One for Peter, one for Paul, and one for them has made us all. Thank you. Thank you. Too kind. Originally, large bonfires would have been held to ward off evil spirits on Halloween, and have said to have been the inspiration behind the carved pumpkin lanterns we use today. However, before the introduction of pumpkins, which are actually native to America, Scotland and in fact most of the UK carved lanterns out of neeps, otherwise known as turnips. Even when I was a girl, we carved turnips instead of pumpkins. You can see why this one won, can't you? Throughout much of the 20th century, Halloween in Britain has been a bit of a non-event. But in recent years, American-style celebrations and popularity have found their way over here. And thank goodness for that. I mean, have you ever actually tried to carve a turnip? I did, every year up until the age of about 20. And that was just spent on one turnip. Also, FYI, we don't commonly call pumpkins jack-o'-lanterns. They're just pumpkins to us Brits, with or without a scary face carved into them. Also, we like to stick to the spooky theme of Halloween when it comes to our costumes. So no cowboys or sexy librarians, just good old-fashioned monsters and ghosts. Trick or treat if you dare, but be prepared to have a grumpy anti-trick-or-treater answer the door and give you nothing but a piece of their mind. Yeah, there are still a few haters out there. Basically, if there's a pumpkin on the doorstep, then there's probably a bowl of candy, or as we call them, sweets, ready and waiting. With Halloween being my favourite time of the year, I'd love to know how you celebrate. Or maybe All Saints' Day is more your vibe. Let us know in the comments. If you're feeling brave enough, then hop on your broomstick and head over to Twitter and follow us at Anglophenia. And why not give our Facebook page a like too? Thanks for what? Wait, did you hear that? It sounded like... No. Oh wait, it's just the boiler. Phew. This one will predict your future. You'll want to turn up the volume on that one. Oh, which one is that again? Oh, you should totally witch that one.
So that was an awesome video. As far as how we celebrate in America, how people know when they could go trick-or-treating is they'll see like people's porch lights on. You know, it'll be very welcoming. You'll know the difference if someone just completely has all their lights off. It'll just, you'll know. But it's, most people in America are very, very festive and very welcoming. And you're, even on my block right now, it's a lot of decorations. I mean, they pretty much compete with that. If you've ever seen the movie, deck the halls with Danny DeVito when they was competing for deck. That's like America, you know. People will compete and just put their all into decorations. I feel like a reason they do that is because they're so used to working so much that they're just like, you know what, I gotta have some fun. You know, people do the best to just stay in high spirits. But yeah, that video was pretty cool. You know, just listen. It would have been cool if she would have added like the Day of the Dead too, and kind of talk. Because I wonder if, because I know when Irish immigrants, right? Some of them went to, or actually a decent amount of them went to. They were getting mistreated in the American army, so a lot of them went to Mexico. Um, in the American Mexican Wars, and they fought. It was it the Saint Patrick's Battalion. They fought alongside Mexicans. So I wonder if a lot of their traditions um, got incorporated with Day of the Dead too, because even with a lot of Irish indentured servants um, that was on certain islands in the Caribbean, I know they their cultures were intertwined and shared with, African and those indigenous slaves that were there, right? Indentured servants, slaves. So that's something that I definitely would have liked to hear more too. If during those American Mexican wars, when when Saint Patrick's Battalion was created, if there was a lot of culture that was shared and incorporated into uh, Day of the Dead. And what's crazy is tomorrow we got Samhain, we got Halloween, we got the new moon in Scorpio, and we also have Day of the Dead all this weekend, right? All Saints Day. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of energy, a lot of celebrations, and very very festive. So I'm definitely excited, and I hope you guys are too. But with that being said, awesome video, original link in the description, and I'll be back with more soon. Much love.